Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Premier League video. My name is Mo and this is my channel FPL Inklink, where you can get the best and the latest content for FPL for this season of 2021-2022. So what's today's video all about? So this is my latest draft. Now I've been making drafts of my first game week, which have been pretty much nailed on what I'm going to be doing as my game weeks for game week 1. However, with the whole transfer saga for Grealish, Kane and other players that are potentially looking for moves as well, it's a lot of dilemma for managers to who they really want to pick and who they really want in their team. So the first player that comes to mind, who's the kind of hot topic, is Harry Kane. Hasn't turned up for 2 days of training and people are thinking he's not going to be available for game week 1, but he's going to be available for game week 2, potentially if the transfer goes through before the deadline day, which is the 31st of August. Now let's say if it doesn't go through, he'll be available after the international break. However, if he is kind of done before and he's available for game week 2, so what that game week is for Manchester City is Norwich. So a lot of people are looking at the moment how to tinker their draft. A lot of people are making drafts where they're looking to kind of like not having to make too many changes to take hits. Some people are planning to play their wild card in game week 2. So I've looked at all those options. So this could be a potential game week 2 wild card if I do decide to play it, if I'm really looking to get Harry Kane into my squad. What I've also done with this draft is I've kind of gone a bit unconventional and I've gone for the 5 at the back, 3 midfielders and the 2 up front. So that's the kind of like, what you call the arrow formation or the defensive formation. But I've got a lot of attacking returns in terms of the depth of the squad, and I've been able to kind of like show in this draft how I've got Salah, Bruno and Kane, and having Bamford in the squad, where I've got 4 penalty takers and I haven't taken too much of a hit in terms of losing funds elsewhere in my starting 11. So stay tuned. I'm going to go through the rationale behind my decisions and let me show you how you can get all these 3 premium players in your draft and make your squad look good. So before we begin, if you like this video, all you got to do is give me a big thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Help me get to that 1K subscribers mark before the season starts in a couple of days. So let's get started from the back. So in my goal, still got Robert Sanchez. Now, one of the common questions I've had recently is around his injury, that he got injured in a pre-season game. I've done some research around it. So the kind of news from the medical camp of Brighton is that it's not too serious. It should be manageable and he should be available for game week 1, which will be taking place in just over a week's time, which is against Burnley. So that's good news for all managers who've got them into their squad, which is around 24% of managers. At the time of recording, around 2.5 million managers have already signed up to the game, which obviously will increase over the next couple of days before the season starts, as it is such a popular game. But the best thing about Sanchez is, what makes him such an attractive prospect for myself and many managers is the fact that people are tipping him to be the kind of next Martinez from last season. So Martinez came to the same price for Villa, 4.5, where he's priced at 5.5 this season, which I think is a bit too high. I think 5 million would have been a bit fairer. But that's just, in terms of FPL, he was a high scoring goalkeeper. So you can pretty much understand he's 5.5 mil, whereas Pope has been 5.5 mil for a few seasons now at Burnley as well. So what kind of attracts me to Sanchez is, I'm tipping him to get quite a few clean sheets. He got 10 last season and he didn't even play the full season. So it shows that he's got the potential to, not only make saves, but actually hold on to clean sheets as well, which makes him defensively quite sound. In terms of a defensive option, but in terms of fixtures as well, some really good fixtures in the first 5, barring Everton in game week 3 and Leicester in game week 5. Burnley away, Watford at home and Brentford away. They're playing 2 of the promoted sides from the Championship in the first 5 games, so it's a nice comfortable start in that opinion for me. Obviously there'll be difficult games in their own right, because no game in the Premier League is dead and easy and you're expected to win, but on paper we can look at a bit more kind of like calmness in terms of fixture difficulty. But also what kind of stands out for Sanchez is he could be the next Martinez in the sense of the point goal scoring. So last season Martinez was the highest goal scorer. My tip for Sanchez is anywhere between 130 to 150 points. He could go higher, potentially, with his ability and his form he showed last season. But what stands out for a keeper like Sanchez and Martinez last season was obviously, for 2 minutes played for 90 plus the 4 for the clean sheet, actually gives you 6 points for the game. Now on top of that, if they make numerous saves, and for every 3 points in a game they make, they'll get a bonus point. So let's say they make 6 saves, 2 points extra, so that's 8. Let's say they're the best player of the match and the man of the match because of their performance, add another 3. Potentially, in the odd game, you could get 11 points for a goalkeeper. That's a really good reward for someone you've invested 4.5 million in. There's not many 4.5 million midfielders listed like Basuma or Gilmore that will potentially get you that much in terms of a return. They might get it in the odd game in the season, but in terms of regularity or kind of more frequency, it's more kind of like evitable in terms of evidence from last season and the seasons before that a 4.5 million keeper has the ability to go big in terms of points if they have a good game and they're the man of the match as well. So for me, he's in goal. In terms of injury, there's no concerns. The medical camp has said he's good to go. He should be fit to play in the first game week. So in terms of the questions that have been asked, just to give you guys some insight, we should be good to have Sanchez at present for the first game week. So that's why he's in my goal. In terms of a backup, Ben Foster from Watford, 26% of managers already got him. It's good number 2. I don't intend to use him. And let's say Sanchez gets injured at some point of the season. There's plenty of 4.5 million goalkeepers available for us to consider and really bring into our squad as well. So no concerns in terms of goalkeepers. That's what I've chosen. Right, so in terms of the 5 defenders, we'll go through them one by one. So the first man I've got in my 5-man defence, Aaron Cresswell, plays for West Ham. Now, outside of Trent and Robertson, who were the 2 highest scoring defenders last season, Cresswell came at number 3 with 153 points respectively, with 11 clean sheets and 11 assists. Now, that's the highest number of assists by any defender last season recorded. So that makes him such an attacking prospect and an exciting prospect. Can he do it again this season? Fingers crossed. That's the ambition. David Moyes is there. They've got a good kind of structure. I can hope for West Ham to kind of deliver and build on the success they had last season, along with 21 bonus points. So it shows that he's got the ability to get some bonus points on the odd occasion. In terms of Cresswell, what makes him so kind of like, for me, a person that I'd like to have in my squad, he's on assists. He likes to get forward. He puts a good cross in. Corners, free kicks, he'll take them. And he's got a great delivery and a great shot. That's what makes him such an exciting prospect. And that's why I've got him in my squad. And in terms of fixtures, barring Leicester in Game Week 2 and Manchester United in Game Week 5, Newcastle away first game week, Crystal Palace in the third game week, and Southampton in Game Week 4 seems like a nice opening set of fixtures for him to have. So that's why I've chosen Cresswell. In terms of defenders, I've chosen a defender from different teams. So when you go for a 5-man defence, my aim is not to get 2 defenders from the same team. The reason why is because when you do double up or triple up on defenders on some occasions, it works really well if the defence is able to keep a clean sheet. Obviously, you can look at minimum 18 points if no one gets booked and they play 90 minutes, 18 points. However, if you concede, you limit yourself to practically around 6 points if there's no other kind of like red card bookings or they don't take any goal contributions or assists. So you're looking at about 6 points. You're limiting yourself quite low, and that can affect your overall game week score. So I've kind of gone different for all teams. And I've got 2 centre-backs in this 5 of the defenders and 3 wing-backs. So the next player I've chosen is John Stones. Now, he had a phenomenal end to the last season with 4 goals and 14 clean sheets. So Manchester City had this amazing run of clean sheets in the second half of the season. And John Stones was a real pivotal part of their defence and their makeup. Now, there's a lot of scepticalness around is he going to be available for Game Week 1. And to be fair, we'll get a clear idea of how fit he is and ready to return from the Community Shield in a couple of days' time against Leicester. So, there's the kind of like, word coming out that he might not be ready or kind of match fit for Game Week 1 against Spurs. So the likes of, Diaz will have like another partner of Nathan Ake or Laporte. But we'll have to wait and see on what kind of match fitness he's in and how much Pep Guardiola really trusts him. Pep wants to always win trophies, and I'm sure if he wants to get the season off to a good start and make a real statement, he will put out John Stones if fit and match ready to play. So in terms of fixtures, Man City, everyone's always talked about their fixtures and how they're kind of difficult to begin with. But to be fair, that's Man City for you in a nutshell. They make difficult games look very easy. There's no doubt that Tottenham away first game, followed by Leicester in Game Week 4, Chelsea and Liverpool in 6 and 7, respectively, they're difficult games. But for me, if they've got their full defence back in full form, there's no reason why they can't get a couple of clean sheets there. That's how good and well-oiled Pep Guardiola teams are. But they've got Norwich. They've got Southampton in Game Week 5, so Burnley at 8 and Brighton at Hove Albion at Game Week 9 and Crystal Palace at Game Week 10. So not a bad start in the first 10 game weeks. Yes, the odd difficult game, but this is Man City at the end of the day, guys. And, they will get clean sheets along the road. So that's why I've chosen him. And 12% of managers already selected him as well. So it shows that, there is a bit of trust in managers and he can come good and build on his kind of like success last season and maybe get his kind of like position cemented, you could say, in the back five. Next defender, or centre-back I should say, is Ben White. Recently transferred to Arsenal. 19% of managers have owned him already, 4.5 mil. In terms of goal, returns, assists, nothing last season, but I think he adds value to Arsenal. Arsenal were the third best defence, barring Chelsea and City, who were the best two defences last season in the Premier League campaign. So he's added to that defence. So if only, if you go by last season's success in terms of defensiveness, they should be stronger, right? But obviously that's never always the case, but I have high hopes for him. I do really rate him highly, and at 4.5 mil, it's a toss of a coin between him and Fofana. But if I look at it generally, I think Arsenal will get more clean sheets than Leicester. Now, what am I basing that upon? Arsenal don't have any European football, so their game frequency will be far less in terms of competition of Thursday night to Sunday night to Monday night, kind of cross or turnover. So they're probably going to be playing games on more Saturdays, Friday nights, etc. So they'll be well rested. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing in terms of, not having that sharpness in terms of match fitness, but in terms of regularity, I reckon Arsenal have a really good chance of having a good season this season. Yes, there are people who kind of doubt Arteta, doubt Arsenal pre-season, but it's just all pre-season, guys. It's friendlies. When we get stuck in, we'll get able to see what they're really about. And to be fair, he got 104 points last season at 4.5 million. If you can add a bit more to that, I think that's a job well done in terms of what you spend on him. So that's why he's in my squad. And hopefully, with Arsenal, with their set pieces and deliveries, with better kind of like overall kind of set piece specialists, there's no reason why he can't get, his campaign started in the Premier League with his first goal or assist this season. My fourth defender is Luke Shaw, the highest owned defender in the game at present. 47.9% of managers have already got him. Simple reason, player of the season for United last season and player of the tournament for England, in my opinion, for their European campaign in the summer. So 5.5 mil, I think he's underpriced. Should have been about 6 at least. 124 points last season with 6 returns, with 5 assists and 1 goal scored. Now, fixtures-wise, I think United in the first 5 games have a real good fixture run. They obviously take a turn in Gameweek 7. But with Luke Shaw, Manchester United were very good in terms of defensive kind of like abilities last season, where, they got many clean sheets and, he was part of 10 of them. But what he adds is, he's got a good delivery, corners, set pieces, and he likes to get forward. Unlike Van Bissaka, I think Shaw takes the ability or the opportunity to really deliver a cross or a key pass in the last penalty area, in kind of like the main area of the forwards in terms of the midfielders or 2 strikers they have, so the main 6 players. He actually gets involved. That's what makes him such a good prospect for me. So that's what I've got in my squad, guys, and he kind of like adds strength in terms of Manchester United defensive abilities as well. And he's the best defender to take in for FPL if you're going to choose a Manchester United defender. Even if Varane comes in, I think he's going to be priced about 5.5. So Luke Shaw seems like the best option in terms of attacking perspective from Manchester United. Last but not least, I've got Luca Digne, so a set-piece specialist from Everton. 9 assists last season, which is quite impressive, considering he didn't play pretty much every minute of the last season, was injured for a bit. Got 120 points, and they didn't have one of their best seasons in terms of clean sheets. They got 9 in terms of Everton, so the games he did play. So, when he does play, it shows he gets assists and he can keep clean sheets. So that's what makes him so much more kind of like, attractive for me in terms of having him in my squad. And I think they have the best first 10 game week fixtures out of every team in terms of, for me, in terms of difficulty. Southampton, Burnley, Brighton, I would say Norwich, Watford, Wolves, all manageable games. With Benitez coming in, I think they'll be defensively more sound. There is a likelihood that it might affect his overall returns, but he's on free kicks and corners, so he will still have the opportunity to whip the ball in. It's just whether he's going to get down the kind of left-hand side to really deliver those balls in for the strikers and the midfielders. We'll have to wait and see. So that's why I've got him in my squad, and that's basically my back 5. Now, moving to the midfield, 2 premiums in there. Starting with Mo Salah, 48.6% of managers own him. Pretty much simple. They've got a really good set of fixtures in the first 8, playing 3 of the promoted sides from the Championship. Last season, 28 goal returns, 231 points. Pretty much, he's got 200 plus points since he's rejoined Liverpool, so pretty much a must-have. The joint most expensive player in the game, along with Harry Kane at 12.5 mil. And just look at those fixtures, barring Chelsea and Manchester City and United in the first 10. they all look really fruitful for him. He could get some really good returns, can go big, and there's no reason why he can't score against the big teams. He scored against Manchester United at Old Trafford last season. There's no reason why he can't score against the other big guys or the big teams as well. So that's why I've chosen him. Pretty much a must-have, and he's going to be my captaincy choice for pretty much most of the games in the first 10. So pretty much going without him it's not an option for me at the moment. I've tried making drafts without Salah, but they just don't look ideal for me, so that I have to have him in. The next man is Bruno Fernandes. Now, there's a lot of talk amongst experts in FPL and managers. They're being sceptical in the sense of Jadon Sancho coming in. Will it affect his output? Yes, it's a valid argument, but for me, I don't really think so, because Bruno's the one guy. He's played alongside Pogba. He's played alongside Rashford. He's played around Greenwood. He's played around Cavani. Didn't affect it at all. Yes, Sancho will add value, but look at it from a positive way, or a glass half full rather than half empty. With Sancho having a finishing ability and setting up ability, will that not boost the chances of Bruno getting more points? Something to think about. So maybe he could improve on what he did last season in terms of 32 goal returns, 244 points being the highest point achiever. Maybe he could get 300 points this season. That was one of my bold predictions. We'll just have to wait and see. He's on penalties, so Sancho won't be taking penalties. And Manchester United got the most penalties last season in the Premier League anyway. And they have been getting most penalties overall over the last couple of years, even with VAR as well, because they like to attack and they've got such finesse and power up front in terms of pace. They will win penalties, whether other teams or managers kind of agree with that or not, and think that they're dives or they're a bit soft, or they call him Fernandes. He's going to get the penalties, and he does have a very good record to put them away. So 32 goal returns, I can't leave him out of my squad. And as I said, the first 5 fixtures look great in terms of Luke Shaw as well, and they have a rough patch afterwards in terms of difficult fixtures. But this is Bruno Fernandes. He can go big. I mean, in terms of game week 7, Everton, he got 18 points last season against them when he played him at Goodison Park. So there's no reason why, and especially with the crowds back as well, I think it really drives players like Fernandes as well. Didn't have a great Euros, but you know what? He's a great player, and great players find a way to make it happen. My third midfielder is Rafinha, so I've had a real close eye on him. 22% owned, 6.5 mil in price, 133 points. Now I think he's underpriced. I think he was going to be around 8, maybe 7.5, 8 mil. 16 goal returns last season. And the first 3 games out of the 4 aren't really ideal. Manchester United, Everton, Liverpool. But then look at in terms of game weeks for the first 10, you've got Burnley away, Newcastle, West Ham, Watford, Southampton, Wolves, Norwich. A lot of green there, so it will come good. Just about a bit of patience, and there's no reason. He's not a defender, but there's no reason why against the big teams he can't contribute in terms of goals or assists. So that's why he's in my squad, guys. And in terms of the kind of culture and Leeds, they're going to attack. Bielsa's not going to sit back. Even at United, they lost 6-2 last season. Rafinha scored, so he was getting returns there as well. In terms of my attackers, so I've got Harry Kane in out. From the prospect of, obviously, he's probably most likely not going to be available for the first game against Tottenham. But let's say he gets available in game week 2. Wolves away. Sorry, these are fixtures of Tottenham. I'll go on to Stones. Norwich, Arsenal, Leicester, Southampton. I think he can score in those games. Even at Chelsea and Liverpool, he's on penalties. He'll take the penalties for Man City. With the service, he's going to have Mahrez, Sterling, Torres, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Jesus if he's on the pitch. Phenomenal service, and if Grealish signs as well, how can you avoid a player like Harry Kane? Just look at his stats: 37 goal returns last season. That's nearly 1 a game. Played 3,000 odd minutes, got the injuries here and there, but he pretty much plays every game. 242 points, third highest goal scorer in the point scorer, and he got 40 bonus points. So he's got an attacking return as well in terms of assists. That may improve further in City because they have such great link-up play. He can build on that, and he can really thrive. Yes, there's a risk of rotation, but you know what, Harry Kane, if you're going to spend around 120, 160 mil on a player like him, I think they'll have to play him. And if they are going to pay him around 400k a week, I don't think Pep's going to bench him as much. And he's a good player in terms of like fitness. He can play week in, week out. So moving on now to Bamford. 17.8% of managers own him. 8 mil in price. He's on penalties. One thing I like about Bamford last season, unselfish. 11 assists, 17 goals. So not bad at all. And in terms of what I like about Bamford is he's very, in terms of the build-up play, he's very involved. He'll drop deep, come forward, and he'll be in the right place at the right time. A lot of people were sceptical, will he hit the ground running? But from what I see last season, I'm very, very looking forward to him playing again well this season. Gone through the fixtures already. Between 3 to 10, I think he'll have a good spell. And there's no reason why he can't score against the other big teams as well. So the rationale behind the Harry Kane part was, this is not for game week 1. I'm just saying, like, let's say if he came along in game week 2 and I am tempted to play the early wild card, this may be my game week 2 squad. I might go early. I want Harry Kane in my squad. He's an amazing talent, deserves to win trophies. I think he's given his service to Spurs, and if he does go in, yes, he does start slow. Euros, for example, competitions in August, he didn't score for a couple of seasons, and there was myths around him being able to score in August. But now that's gone. He scores, he bangs in goals in every single month, even in July and June when he's playing Euros. But that's what makes Harry Kane so much more fruitful in terms of having him in your attack. So let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like this draft? In terms of my bench as well, Davies is probably not going to get many minutes. Basuma and Gilmore, they'll probably play minutes. So if anyone is benched or rested, for example Stones, who's most likely not to get a game, at least you've got Basuma and Gilmore to come on. Let's say Kane's rested for a whole game. I've got 2 players to come on, and I think I can manage with that as well. So that's my draft, guys. What are your thoughts? How does this draft look with Salah, Fernandes and Kane? You've got Bamford and Rafinha as well, and you've got Cresswell, Shaw and Digne in there as well. So barring 2 centre-backs who don't even to be fair, Stones carries an attacking threat. Barring Ben White, who probably at the moment, based on previous seasons, doesn't carry like a goal threat. You've got 9 players there on the field that can get you some form of points in terms of bonus points, goals and assists as well. Let me know what your thoughts are. Did you like this draft? Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Also, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, guys. Help me grow this channel and community and help me get to that 1K mark itself. Join the league code, pop the league into the FPL website and be part of the best league and the most competitive league on the game itself. Let's have a great season, guys. I'll see you soon. Have a lovely day.